Just want to say thanks for coming. It always amazes me. It seems like we get more people in here each and every year, so I appreciate you guys coming out and covering our guys and just our program, and it means a lot to me. Obviously being alumni here, it is really special to see the exposure we get and just the media presence. So thank you guys for that. To start with, it's exciting. We get to start full team practice on Friday. We got our banquet on Saturday. You really have about 3 weeks to play one another and get ready for our first game. So our guys are fired up. They've done a really good job. This has been a good of a team as far as showing up and going about their business the right way. It's been really refreshing as a head coach when your assistant coaches and your players, man, they're just showing up each and every day with a ton of intent, energy, and executing what we ever throw at them. And it's been really nice to see. So I'll open it up for questions. Ready for the hard ones, I guess. I go.
Coach, just given how last year went, especially beginning, what did y'all learn from maybe some of the early struggles that y'all had last year that you maybe apply this year?
Well, I woke up this morning, I said, well, I don't think there's been a publication that has ranked this preseason in the top 10, so that's been our Achilles heel in 2017, I think, last year. I'm just kidding. I don't buy into that stuff, but last year there was just a lot of distractions, man, to be honest with you, and everybody I'm sure wants to point to us losing one of our best players, but there was a lot of distractions behind the scenes you guys didn't see, and a lot of drama, to be quite honest with you, and there was a lot to manage. I thought our guys, once they decided to play as one unit, did a really good job, and that was the fun part. The 20-game winning streak, a lot of people will call and say, hey, what did you say to them? And I said, I didn't say anything to them. I just got stepped back and got out of the way and let them play baseball, and that was really fun to be a part of.
Do you try, I don't know, to be more hands off? I don't know if that's the right word, just based on how the end of last year went, or do you change it from year to year?
Well, I've had to be more hands off with my knee and stuff, so that's been fun to watch our leaders take over, and our assistant coaches, they've been tremendous. AK and Coach Palumbo and Colby and Blake and Heath, so they've done a really good job.
Has any of the younger guys maybe stepped into that leadership role from a player side after having some losses for last year's team?
Charlie Hodges did a really good last year behind the scenes. A lot of people didn't see him because he was hurt with Tommy John surgery, but he was pretty much our pitching coach in the bullpen. He's done a really good job, and then you've got the older guys. When you have guys like Carter Spivey, Garrett Saylor, Lane Hoover, guys that have been in your program 5 years, AMAC, Carter Cunningham's done a really good job. It's been really, like I said, is we put stuff down on paper and they go about their business like they're coaches. They hold one another accountable, and really this day and age, that's unheard of because there's so much selfishness out there, and what is it in for me, and how much NIL money am I going to get, and Coach yelled at me yesterday. So that's been the real refreshing part about this team is they've just shown up and gone about their business. I'm sure they've seen the rankings, but nothing has changed since rankings have come out with the way they've approached their day-to-day. So once again, that's really refreshing as a head coach.
Last year, late in the season, you said it was the most player-led team you've ever had. Who's the hardest guy to replace from a leadership standpoint? Do you think this team will be just as player-led as last year?
I think it was a collective unit last year. Ben Newton really took upon himself to kind of go over game notes each and every day before we would play a game, and Coach Smanner helped out with that. I think this group has taken really it's every team's different, and they've taken on their own mantra, and that's the thing that even back to the fall, they got a 3.62 team GPA, and they just showed up and competed every day at practice, so that was good to see.
Cliff, you talked about drama and distractions. I know you've also, the team and you personally have dealt with some real trials, life and death type situations. How does, kind of going through those types of things, what does that do for a team and its culture and dynamics?
Well, seeing Parker Bird come to the facility and just, with a smile on his face, and him being at practice when he can, when he doesn't have PT and stuff. I mean, if that doesn't, put things into perspective, then I don't know if you've got a pulse. So that's been, awesome. I mean, he makes me better. He makes our team better. Obviously, it was a very tragic moment, but I tell you what, of all the people it could ever happen to, he's taken and ran in a very positive way, and he's not just affecting our team, he's affecting people all around the country in a positive way.
Can you take us back to that day, just how crazy it was, and everything that went on that day?
Well, we had a recruit on campus, and, of course, I don't answer my phone with the recruit, but we're finishing up. I had just finished up offering him a scholarship, and my phone just kept ringing in my watch, and I looked down, and it's Jeff Bird. It was on a Saturday. And I knew once, like, the third time he was calling that it wasn't good, so I just told the recruit and his parents I'd step away. And Jeff obviously was in a panic and said, hey, I need you to get over to the emergency room. So I dropped whatever I was doing and got my car and actually beat Parker there to the emergency room. I never could see Parker, but I was there. And then the guys that were on the boat and his girlfriend showed up, so I got a chance to spend some time with them until Jeff and Mitzi and the rest of the family showed up.
Parker seems to want to, play baseball again. Obviously, he's hidden and a lot of that stuff. Have you guys talked about a goal, like in the future, like for him to potentially try and return to action?
No timetable. I think that's something that is tough to put a timetable on. The thing that Jeff and I talked about originally was to make him part-time. So he was a part-time student in the fall. He'll be a part-time student in the spring, so his clock doesn't start for his eligibility. He just got his prosthetic right before Christmas. What a great Christmas present. And it's not something, and probably I was a little bit naive, it's not something that's, hey, when you get a prosthetic, you just put it on and man, you're going. You got to get that area toughened where you can have the prosthetic on. You got to get those quad muscles strong. So it was a process for him to be able to wear it for the entire day. And then I think once he continues to, get that leg strong, I think you probably even get into a probably more dynamic prosthetic. And so all that's a process, but I wouldn't bet against him. I tell people all the time, people say, hey, he's going to be, I wouldn't bet against him. I just see the way he works and the attitude he has.
Who are some of the guys that have maybe taken the biggest leap this offseason? I guess from a position player standpoint, starting off with.
I look at Carter Cunningham. I think Carter, came in last year, probably put a lot of pressure on himself. He was really good friends with Zach Agnos. He was kind of in Zach's shadow a little bit. This year, he's taken a very professional approach about the way he goes about his business and just trying to be the best version of himself. He's been a really good leader. He's kind of taken Dixon Williams under his wing because they both hit left-handed. He's just been another assistant coach on the field. Hoove is Hoove. JC, we're still trying to get him to take on more leadership roles. Ryan McChrystal and Justin Wilcoxon, I think, have made big jumps as far as being two elite catchers behind the plate. And pitching-wise, Charlie Hodges, he's a wild card for me because he's probably 14, 15 months out of Tommy John. In the fall, he pitched a little bit at the back end, but when it was about a year out, your command's not as good, and we're worried about your arm health. But now he's really coming. I think the sophomore class of pitchers that were freshmen last year, all of those guys have made big jumps. You look at Jake Hunter, Eric Ritchie, Merrick Beaker. I really don't count Trey Savage in that group because he pitched a lot for us, but even him, he's made big jumps into the standpoint that, you possibly could see him as a starter. So that's the one thing about our program, and I give all the credit to our assistant coaches, is they develop guys that are in a program. If the guys are willing to work and stick it out, then they get better. And Coach Knight's done a great job with the pitchers. Coach Palumbo and Coach Bortles have done a great job with position players to develop those guys to, really allow their talents to come to the top.
Would you like to see maybe more of an established starting pitching rotation versus kind of the plug and play what you guys did a lot last year?
Coach Knight, yeah, we will we'll get a little more sleep this year, I think, because our pitching depth's a lot better. That's not something, and Coach Knight would tell you this, I tell you this, I'm a traditionalist. I don't like having openers, but last year we had to do what was necessary to give our team a chance to win, and I think, not to give myself credit but we just talked to the pitchers last year about everybody being a closer. And if you can just go out there and throw one inning, then we'll give the ball to somebody else. And it allowed our guys to have confidence and really a selfless attitude. And they didn't really care when they pitched. They knew that a lot of them, if they were healthy, they were going to have a chance to go out there and pitch. So but yes, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd like to put out a Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting rotation.
Cliff, you mentioned earlier about your knee. How did off-season knee surgery go for you? How are you feeling right now? And will you be able to be out there at third base as the season approaches here?
Well, and less somebody tackles me, I think I'll be in good shape to coach third base. Yeah, it was a grind. Got my pick line out today, so I actually can bend my arm a little bit better and take a shower without getting saran wrap around my arm, so that's pretty cool. But no, my knee's actually feeling good. It's just the antibiotics make me feel like crap.
Coach, shortstop wise, is that something where you kind of see that going into the season as kind of a, I don't know, open competition or something like that? Or just something that will have to play itself out for somebody to kind of establish himself there?
I can only imagine what the message board's questions about shortstop are. We'll have a very quality guy that runs out there, but you might see multiple faces. You know, Joey Barini really in the first few weeks we've been back has done a great job. He's playing with a lot more confidence. Coach Palumbo's done a great job with him, continuing to get him better defensively. Connor Rasmussen, same thing. Him and Nate Chrisman both have continued to develop as freshmen with Coach Palumbo and look a lot better. And AMAC could go over there. I mean, Dixon Williams has done a good job at third base. AMAC's one of the best defenders in the country, I would say, at third base, but he also can play shortstop. So you can see a lot of different guys, and those guys need to just be the best versions of themselves because they all kind of bring a little bit something else to the table. They're all different in their own way.
When you have freshmen, like last year, a couple of pitchers come to mind, Jacob Jenkins Coward, when they have success so early, what's maybe some of the challenges to continuing that into their sophomore year?
For JC just to be himself, I told him if he put up the same offensive production as he did last year, that's enough, but continue to take more leadership roles. You'll probably see him starting in center field to start off with just because of his personality, his vocalness in center field. He's a long strider, so he'll probably play a little more shallow than you've seen center fielders play in the past because he really goes back on the ball really well and he's got a plus arm. But just to be himself and not try to, be unbelievable, just keep coming every day and trying to get a little bit better. I think that's the biggest thing. I think when they try to do too much, a lot of times it can kind of snowball on them for sure.
Is his personality kind of, I don't know what the word is, but just in a game where a lot of it is failure, I mean, he just seems so upbeat. I mean, does that kind of help him out?
He's a very unique individual in a positive way. I don't know if I've met anyone like Jacob Jenkins Coward. He puts a smile on my face. He's an energy giver. He makes our team better, even if he's not doing anything at the plate offensively. He is a fiery, emotional guy, which I like. I mean, I like guys that mean something to him and it means something to him, and so it's fun to be around.
Coach, I got to add, the Alec Burleson plaque to the MLB wall. So what was it like kind of watching him play last year, get the opportunity to see that come to fruition?
Well, I was more worried about him. Everybody would call me and ask me when Burley was getting called up. So when I would talk to him, I said, well, I can only imagine what people are asking you. If they ask me, that's the first question they ask me. And just keeping them in a positive mindset and, hey, you're doing what you need to do. It's a business. They'll call you up when they want to call you up, and you can't get frustrated when other guys are getting called up. But being able to fly the staff out there and being on the field for BP, thank Mike Schultz for that. He got us BP passes. I didn't want to ask Burley for BP passes. He'd only been up for like 3 days. So we just asked for tickets from Burley and then BP passes from Mike Schultz, and to spend some time with him. It was a very quick trip, but we got to hang out with him on the field for BP, and then hung out with him for about 15-20 minutes after the game. And he didn't get to play, but it was just awesome to see him in that Cardinals uniform and know how much he meant to ECU baseball.
You got a ton of guys in the minors and Norby and Gavin.
Clip.
Hey,
Man, good to see you, brother.
Great to hear. Guys getting close to maybe getting that call up, but to have a guy hitting a home run in Major League Baseball, like how big of a recruiting pitch is that? How interested are kids in seeing stuff like that?
To be honest with you, I got no idea what kids are interested in anymore. What makes them make decisions, what makes parents help them make decisions or not help them make decisions, but it can't hurt. And for him to do it after Pujols' 700th was pretty awesome from my standpoint. So You know, our guys have gone out there and done a good job. You know, it's great to see Gavin do what he's doing and Norby doing what he's doing. And I just want those guys to keep putting their head down and go to work, and so we can see them up in the big leagues very shortly as well.
Cliff Carter Spivey's gotten some buzz, and obviously he's kind of a leader on your pitching staff. How is he leaning into that and just the expectations that comes with that?
Spivey's just gone about his business as he did last year, you know, when nobody really expected anything of him, and we all know how that turned out. And he's been through a lot of adversity here. Nobody will remember it, especially after last year, but for him to, you know, come back and really want to be a part of our team when he could have went somewhere else, that means the world to me. And our teammates see that, and they respect him for that. And he's continued to get better with Coach Knight, so definitely, you know, he'll have the opportunity to, you know, pitch on Friday nights for us. There's still a few weekends here to see that competition unfold, but just having a guy that's a fifth-year senior that has been out there in pretty much every situation you can imagine, and had success, and then also had not success early in his career, so that gives us a comfort level.
Is there a guy you're kind of hoping steps into like what Bryson Morrill did for you in the lineup last year? Because I mean, he couldn't not hit most of the time.
Well, Bryson, the last month, I mean, you guys saw it. That's as special of a month that I've seen here at East Carolina. I mean, he, you know, carried us a lot offensively for sure. You know, going into last year, we talked to the hitters, and I think our offensive lineup will be very similar this year. You know, be a lot of guys that can hit 5 to 10. We never expected somebody to hit 20 last year, but we felt like there were some guys that hit 5 to 10 and some double-digit guys, and I feel like our offense will do the same this year. We'll have some guys that can run, some guys that will hit doubles, and then some guys that hit home runs as well.
Coach, you had a lot of lefty hitters last year. You'll probably have that again this year. Do you look at maybe some of the younger right-handed guys that have come to the program as maybe somebody that can help balance that a little bit as you go on?
I don't know if we're going to be very balanced offensively. We have a lot of left-handed hitters. We'll have more left-handed hitters this year in the lineup than we did last year, at least initially, I feel like. AMAC's actually dealing with a little bit of a wrist injury that doesn't allow him to hit right-handed right now, so that puts it even more left-handed dominant. But he's good to hit left-handed, he's good to throw, he's good to take around balls, so that's a positive of it. We just got to see how that wrist reacts as we continue to get closer to the season, but we'll definitely be left-handed dominant.
How is Riley Johnson's recovery doing from shoulder surgery last year?
Riley's 100% healthy. You know, that was the one thing that in the middle of the season, I just didn't think it was fair to him to be a pinch runner and to play defense for us last year when he couldn't swing the bat at the level that he's capable of. So we got a medical red shirt for him last year, which he could have helped us, but like I said, I didn't think it was fair to him. He's 100% healthy. He's actually had a really good preseason. Luke Nowak, who you saw a little bit in pinch running situations last year, he actually had the same surgery as soon as summer baseball was over that Riley did, and he's 100%. So another guy, I mean, he's probably our fastest guy. I mean, from home to first, I mean, he runs 4 flats down the line, Nowak does, so that gives us another speed option as well. So excited to have both those guys healthy.
Any transfer portal guys that are going to make an impact right away, Coach?
You know, Childress is still kind of up in the air. He's still battling some arm stuff. Tyler Brott from VMI has looked really good, and Willie Lumpkin from Winthrop has looked really, really good. The thing that has been the most important thing to me is that they've really fit in well with our guys and have really bought into our culture. The portal will not be somewhere that we live. We'll, you know, pick up a piece here and there if we need to in a situation where the draft hurt us a little bit last year, and those guys have done a tremendous job.
Coach, y'all been pushing, obviously, the third base, you know, kind of left field expansion a while. What type of progress have y'all made? And then once y'all get that done, how much will that add to your program?
Well, nobody lets me know the financial stuff. You know, I feel like I should know since the money I donated. So Ryan Robinson needs to give me an update. So he's not in here, but I guess he'll see this. So I think it's going really well. We've had a lot of people step up big. I think the banquet will help, you know, getting in front of people once again, and I think baseball season will help. I know that we're really close to being sold out again, season ticket wise, so that's exciting. I appreciate everybody who has bought a season ticket. hosting regionals and super regionals definitely doesn't hurt that, because everybody wants to have a seat if we're able to host a regional, super regional again, so that's exciting. But just appreciate the passion that the Pirate fans have for us.
How do you see the conference as a whole? Are they gonna be more competitive, normal? What does this year kind of look like from what you see?
I think this day and age it's tougher to tell what other guys are gonna have because of the portal and, you know, people transferring. And you guys know me, I know it's boring for you guys, but I have no idea. I don't care. I have no idea how good George Washington is, and I know they'll have some good pitching because everybody does, and if we don't play well, we'll get beat, and if we play well, we'll have a good chance to win. I mean, everybody saw that last year with Bryant, so nobody even had heard of Bryant really, and you know, they swept us here at home, and we're preseason top 10, so it's all about us. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and that's the way our guys look at it.
There's some rule changes in Major League Baseball with shift and everything. How about college baseball? Are you aware of any rule changes for this year?
Well, the biggest thing, Clip, is no props, no celebratory props. So we can't go put a traffic cone out on the field.
No
You can do it no sledgehammer. You got to do it in the dugout. So I got to talk to our guys about that. So you know, back in the day, they had a little party room. When guys hit home run, they'd shut that door in the mud room. So they might have to go back to doing that. And then the 20-second clock, they're making more of an emphasis on that. So pitchers can't just step off like they did last year and kind of fake a throw. You can do that one time for a batter, but now you've got to start your windup, or in your set position, you got to be delivering the ball in under 20 seconds, which I don't really know how that's going to go. The reason I haven't put a clock up in the outfield with the 20-second clock is because if that thing goes to 0, they're going to call it. But if there's nothing out there, then there's at least a chance that they might give you a second, you know, if they're on a watch. So those are the two biggest things. They're trying to speed up the pace of play, just like Major League Baseball. But as of right now, we can still shift.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.